So this is our house in the Melbourne suburb of Seddon. We call it the Cut Pawpaw House, and we got that name because once we bought this property, we saw on the title it was listed as being in the parish of Cut Pawpaw, which was the old name for the area, and it was just a quirky name that stuck with us.
It's an extension to an existing workers' cottage, but it's really all about inside and outside and combining the both within a large structure of a frame that's partially clad.
They were equally important to have a garden that we really enjoyed and a house that we really liked, but it was, I suppose, very important that the two went together. It wasn't just our house and our garden as separate elements. Derek's main request in the brief was that it's ridiculously inside out, and we took that as a challenge and really tried to push it as hard as we could. We looked at shed construction for the simplicity of enclosing a large space in an economical way, and because of the context of the area. In the backyards of a lot of these houses around Seddon there's the old tin shed, and we located a series of portal frames throughout the backyard stretching from the old part of the house down the garden. Steel appealed to us in the sense that we were really looking for something that was modern and contemporary to juxtapose against the historical nature of the front of the house, and yeah, it made sense within the brief.
We had an excellent steel fabricator who really worked to the millimetre. I knew for this project that we'd be able to get it to the level required with the steel being such an important element.
I guess we'd always thought that in terms of roofing we'd have some sort of colour-bond roofing, and then Andrew and Mark suggested to us the long line in terms of that really contemporary sort of a finish, and the idea of running the roof straight into the walls. We really liked that idea. We chose the Lysart Longline 305 profile because of its verticality in the ribs and the way that it emphasised the lines from roof seamlessly down to wall. So not to break that up, we tried to do away with horizontal flashing or a gutter that usually happens between the meeting of the roof and the wall. So the long line was perfect for that. We could run it right from the ridge line down to the wall and then fold it out for the awning again, all in one run.
To make it look neat and seamless at the junctions, it takes a special detail called a mansard folding detail. It takes a high level of skill by the roofing contractor to make every single tray and every single rib line up in a mitre.
The addition was set out on the 305mm module, right from the corner of the living room, right to the rear corner of the studio, which is the Lysart Longline grid. Then we placed the steel portals. So the steel portals are also on their own structural grid, but they relate to the external form of the cladding. At some point, this building could be unbolted, moved somewhere else and reconstructed on a different site.
There's no doubt that the architect's design was very clever in terms of having modules of size based on the long line roof sheet, and every steel structural member was spaced using that module system.
For ease of fabrication and to get the portals on site, all the members were fabricated in a shed off-site into that shape.
The structure ascended from a 3-metre ridge up to 6 metres at one end, over length of 30 metres.
To do that, each of these columns is a different height depending on where it sits in terms of the length of the block. The cladding and the location of the cladding in the central area, although it looks quite random, it took a long time to work out exactly where we should put the different elements. To let the dappled light in to the garden area and to let more sun through into the central garden. The colour-bond surf mist helps with the heat island effect that can happen in sort of built up inner city areas like this. The garden and the surrounding landscape help a lot with that as well. We knew that we wanted to have a real hero tree in the middle of the courtyard there that would grow quite tall and through the actual steel structure, and that would integrate with the structure in some way. When the project was first completed, before the garden went in, it was very different. It was a bit harsh. It seemed a bit cold. Once the landscaping went in, it really softened, and that is increasing every time I visit the house. With the galvanised finish, you can leave it there in the garden exposed in the centre to get the garden to grow through. We've got some water tanks down the side of the old part of the house, which are fabricated out of Colorbond steel in the same profile as the roof of the old part of the house.
We've great faith in Colorbond products. We've seen them perform in Australian conditions for many years, and we feel comfortable with the warranties that are provided, and it's a great looking product set. It was very satisfying to see all the steel members go up in 2 days, and for everything to fit and every bolt hole, every column plumb, straight, every line working, everything's on show. So everything had to be just right.
We do feel like we've got value out of the architecture and value out of what the architects have given us, and we still do appreciate that every day.